We are Max and Maya, a creative family who captures our life journey and shares it online. And since we get to edit the videos ourselves, most of the time it's more of this and much less of this.
Because you're like, let's just go. Like,
they're all just lying to us. What does it really take to be a family vlogger? How much of what you see is actually unfiltered truth? And most importantly, how do we feel about bringing our daughter into this digital world? Every family vlogger is different, but today we want to sit down and talk about how we really feel about all this.
welcome back to our channel. My name is Max.
And I'm Maya, and this is my husband.
This is my wife.
And we have a family vlogging channel here on YouTube. We also have a daughter, a dog. And we have shared a lot with you, the viewers. I would like to ask you, because for those of you that know me, I have been online for over 10 years. I started my YouTube channel in 2012. And it started off as an experiment on what would happen if I was shameless. And 11 years later, we have a YouTube channel together, but that was such a far cry from where you were. Like when I met Max, he had a private Instagram account, had no business with social media. No. And how did you navigate private Instagram Max versus public YouTuber Max?
Well, I first had to come to terms with what the world of influencers, if we can use that term.
Okay.
Like I was very ignorant towards that world in general. I thought that influencers was just posting photos and I thought it was the most easiest job ever, super simple, no efforts whatsoever. So I was very judgmental towards that lifestyle anyway. And then coming to know you and being invited into this world, and naturally I just wanted to help you, right?
Yeah.
So I got to see the process and also the creative freedom that it came with. So I was intrigued, I would say minutes into seeing the world from behind the scenes. And then coming from a background of I was studying acting. It's such a great tool. I was a struggling actor, and the majority of my friends who were pursuing acting as well, they were struggling. I saw an opportunity to remain the creative freedom, and also be able to express myself with, it might not be character that I am, but I am myself, and that is a challenging thing in itself. But it allows me to be in front of the camera, behind the camera, edit all these things, and also make a living out of it. Yeah. So I think that's how it started. That was my segue into this world.
So your expectation was, you thought it was a super easy job.
Yeah.
It's laughable, and then you stepped into it and you realized, oh, this is actually creative, fun, and there's certain freedoms with it.
How do you navigate working with me being on this with me?
I think there's always a concern when you share something that you cherish in your life. Like when Max and I were dating in the beginning, nobody knew. I did not advertise online. I didn't post any photos of our dating process. I kept everything under wraps until I was in Berlin and we got engaged, and our friend Agatha, such a talented photographer, she took photos, and they were our engagement photos. I'm like, I can't not share this. They were so much fun, and so I remember, I think that was the first time I shared, mainly because I love artists and I loved the photos, and as much as I loved you and I wanted to keep you private, I just really wanted to celebrate
what we were.
An engagement. And I remember I was like, Max, I posted, and Max was like, whoa, all these people. Yeah. Were you private at that point? No, you public?
I think you told me, you're an actor, you should be public.
For me, it was very vulnerable to share a private part of my life. I had shared times when I was dating, and it never ends well. You're posting photos of your boyfriend or girlfriend at the time, and it's like hashtag goals, and then you break up and you're like,
I'm a failure,
idiot. Then the comments are like, oh, see, this is why I don't. And so I do believe that there is a risk involved with or without social media. Yeah. You take a risk when you say yes to a person and you decide to make a commitment to spend a lifetime with them. So I do recall that you were fine helping me with my career, but you did not like the idea of being in front of the camera. There was a time when you weren't necessarily into that. And then I had suggested, why don't we start a YouTube channel together? The reason why I suggested this is because Max was helping me with my YouTube channel. And I was like, we're traveling to all these places.
And I'm
It
like,
feels a bit like it would make more sense in terms of navigating, like if we both were front facing. So it's less about you helping me and more about us collaborating together. And that's why I suggested like we start this channel together, so it's not like behind the scenes in front of the camera.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember. I think it was because I was insecure being myself in front of the camera. I think that, you know, when you do, if there's any actors out there who can relate to, you do this like crazy, like you play the Joker and you're like so extravagant and like all these emotions physically, you completely transform, and then you go to like, hi, my name is Max, I'm represented by, and then you have to take like 30 different takes on just to like introduce yourself.
He's talking about when you audition.
Like when you do an audition.
Intro,
Yeah, and it's like, I always struggle with that phase where you're like,
To be
okay,
yourself.
now just say your name, who you're represented by, and what the role that you're reading for is. And then I was so insecure, like out of a sudden I get really like tense, and you remember how I was super insecure.
Yeah.
And it takes time to like, some are very naturally good at being themselves in front of the camera. For me, even to this day, I think I struggle sometimes to be authentic.
Yeah.
It's like you need to be in an emotional state to just be like, for me, I'm talking about me, to be myself. So
it doesn't come as easy as you might think. Like, and I
No.
don't think you need to even be an actor to relate to that. Like,
No.
even non-actors across the board, everyone can either like find it very easy or find it challenging or somewhere in between.
yeah, exactly. It's like, it's also part, like, I think it's also like an imposter syndrome too. Like, why would anyone be interested in me? But when I'm playing this character, I'm all of a sudden like representing something else, and that
Right.
people can view into. But me, so a lot of those insecurities, I think, in the midst of being Maya, living the way we are, and then at the same time capturing content and creating stories in our everyday life. Like, how do you cope with that? Like, how do you deal with that in terms of like because we don't have cameras on 24/7.
No.
So are you selective with what you show to the world?
Yeah, I would say the biggest struggle that I have in terms of like family vlogging or vlogging in general, whether you're in a family or an individual, it's like I naturally don't want to film. Like, I naturally just want to be present, like with having breakfast or gardening. Like, it's hard for me to think like, oh, let me go get the camera and film, especially 10 years in. Like, I'm just tired. But I think what I do is like, oh, we do have to film. So this day we're going to film us having breakfast. And so we have to be more intentional with those areas. So I have to use a lot of intentional thinking of like, you need to film right now.
So you're being strategizing how you're filming as opposed to just...
Yeah, because then we don't even upload. We're not daily vloggers.
No.
To anyone who is a daily vlogger, kudos to you. But I think for myself and even us, our strategy, it's almost like a digital diary, but there is, guys, just so you know, there is an action and cut.
Yeah.
And so I think that is one of the realities that you might not see. The other reality is there are a lot of, it goes off script, like it goes off the storyline. And so depending on how long you want the video or how much it takes away from the storyline, we might not want that. So we'll cut. We do cut a lot of arguments.
Yeah.
Like a lot of arguments are cut out. And I think even with our dynamic, because there's two editors and two directors, when we edit, we criticize each other while we edit. Like, oh, look at you. You're like looking at me like that. See that, Max? I'm mad at you. Or vice versa. There's a lot of times too where, especially in the beginning, I would criticize myself. It was like a gift and a curse of filming and editing yourself. It's like you can start to see your flaws. And well, hopefully you see your flaws and hopefully you want to work on that. In the editing room, we get to cut those flaws out as much as possible.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that's the beauty of being a vlogger or being on YouTube in general, as yourself, as a lifestyle vlogger, is that if you can receive constructive feedback from the one that you're working with, or also being a bit self-critical but also give grace to yourself, I think that's has been something that I appreciate in my journey as a growth in my journey, because I get to see myself so much in
Yeah.
front of the camera. So, and I'm trying to be as authentic and natural as I can be in front of the camera. So I get to like have receipt of how I navigate to some degree and be more observant. So some of the arguments that we have, the reason why I cut them out is mainly because I don't think that's what our channel is about, and it's a bit like it's scary to share that to the world, and I feel like that's some of the integrity that I want to keep. But I also feel like some of the things that we argue about on camera is not resolved yet, and putting it online is sort of like putting unresolved things that we haven't even processed amongst us. I don't know. I don't want to like project a lifestyle as perfect. So I sometimes feel indebted to share the flaws too, the fights and stuff. Like we've had very authentic, transparent conversation about our.
I guess that's where we
Our
kind of
relationship.
make up for
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
It's that we try to, instead of including the argument in
Oh yeah, we
the
bring it
edit,
up.
we bring it as a video that we can discuss. So we've had videos where I would say the hardest part of our relationship so far has been postpartum,
Yeah.
when we sought like professional help and we're trying to work through our differences and get tools on how to do that, and we shared that in a video discussing
Yeah.
that we need help
Yeah, exactly.
and sharing
That's a
the
really
tools.
good point. I think that you nailed it there. It's like you can choose to put the raw in the moment arguments or the that thing online, and I'm sure that would be exciting for people to watch. But for us, it has just worked as like, okay, how can we show this to the world as an I don't know, like
A lesson
a
instead
lesson
of
for
like
us, but
in the midst drama, like unfolding, like when we're still, to your point, we're trying to figure out what's even going on.
exactly, yeah.
And I've even done videos on my own channel, like on my own growth and journey, like being an independent woman and all the drama that comes with that. Yes, I've addressed the things I need to work on, and the sucky part of life is things don't happen overnight. Like
No.
it's a process. So
Yeah.
and you've seen like in the comments, people are like, "Oh Maya, you need to have several seats," and like, "Oh Maya, you're doing this." I was like, "Y'all are very hard on me." How's about this one? Do we keep enough footage of you
Right.
and
Yeah,
your
I
things
think
that you do to me?
But I think that's also, and I think I've addressed this online too, is that first of all, you have your following already before we met. You've
Yeah.
done this for so long, and I also think that you are more comfortable in your skin on the. I think
Yeah,
that you're
there's
giving
that.
more of yourself than I am. I think there's still me holding back a lot.
Yeah.
Me wanting to be loved. Me wanting to be liked. Me being afraid of maybe speaking up sometimes. So I don't fault you for that.
Well, our YouTube channel together started back in what, 2020? So we're only like 3 years in.
Yeah.
So maybe another 2 more, 5
Yeah,
years.
We started 2021. Actually.
Is it 2021?
So 2 years.
2 years.
Hasn't been 2 years. 2 years in January.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
What does this channel mean to you? From a spiritual point of view, for a philosophical point of view, like what does it represent for you?
Well, I think we touched on it earlier. Social media can be a tool that you use for business or a hobby that you use for pleasure. And I think I use social media for both. Like I try to keep as much of my persona in it as I can, that I feel is safe, as well as business opportunities, be it like through brand partnerships or whatever, like if we're traveling or something. Like I try to keep both in mind. Like I'm not 100% like this is business. Like some people have their like formula down. I guess if we did have a formula, it would be, this is my digital journal through the eyes of an editor creative. That's my philosophy. And I try to take you with me on the journey that I go through and
Yeah.
that we go through. So if we're in a chapter of, you know, postpartum depression, like you will see that eventually.
Yeah.
And then I guess the new chapter, which we'll touch in after, is parenthood.
Yeah.
So what is your philosophy and how do you approach social media?
Well, I think that I have an issue where it comes to like being strategized. I am a creative by nature, and I think that YouTube and this lifestyle allows me to be completely free and be myself, and then have completely creative freedom and still make a living out of it. So it's a platform where I can basically create anything. I mean, there's certain parameters that you should keep within, obviously, but I just feel like it's the widest like creative field that I have in my life right now. And I also love the digital journal. Like there's life moves so fast, there's so much happening, and although like maybe in the moment I'm like, oh, I just want to be present now, I'm so grateful now to sit back and watch. Like I watched another vlog
Older
we did
videos.
1.5 years ago,
Yeah.
and I was like, this is so good. I was watching the whole thing, like tearing up, laughing, all these things. I was like, and I was thanking my past Max for capturing that. So it's like, yes, I am giving it out to the world because I'm okay with it. I want to share my story online. I want other people to take part of it. I want other people to find it inspirational, and if not inspirational, just like see it, entertain, whatever it is. Like I'm okay with whatever reaction it will get to any other person out there.
What about if we were divorcing? Like if we divorced,
Yeah.
how would you look back on this YouTube channel? And what is your response to that? Because
yeah.
like people divorce all the time.
Yeah, I think yeah, it's a really, really good question, and this is very tough. It's easy to sit here now as a happily married man. Like I cannot fathom a life without you. I don't visualize it. I don't see it. Maybe when I'm really, really angry, I have moments of just like I just want to be by myself. Like that I know that thought comes to me every now and then when I'm like, I just want to take responsibility of myself, no one else. But it never goes darker than that, and I feel that I want to believe that maybe if we were to go again, if we were to go separate ways, I'm sure that there will be years I would have to go through stages of maybe like anger, like heartbroken, like, you know what I mean? Like there's so many steps, but ultimately,
would you blame social media for ruining your marriage?
I don't think so, because this is what our relationship was founded on. I think it was like something that I found exciting. Like I never had an ideal family life. I didn't have like things drawn down to pieces of how I wanted my family and how my life wanted to unfold.
Okay.
What I know is that here and now I get to live a flexible, adventurous life. I get to travel the world. I get to create.
Yeah.
And I get to feel like I make a short film that doesn't generate any income at all, and I have someone who is a creative who understands how important it is for me.
Yeah.
I have that support that maybe my parents didn't have
Yeah.
to one another. I have that, and that's a win in itself. I think it would hurt more that there's so much material of us. Like there's so many emotional triggers, there's so many memories and stuff. But maybe that, I think Saga, if anyone, would really be grateful to see her parent, like footage of her parents. Like that's something that I would want to see, hope to see from my parents, and I don't have any of that. Really.
I see.
So, hard question, right? I don't have the answer for it. I want to believe, and I think it comes down to belief, that I wouldn't look back at it in regret. Like, how would you blame social media?
No, I wouldn't, because I went through a divorce on social media, but nobody knew, like that person wasn't in the camera. No. So it was just more or less my own journey, and that was that. But I think in terms of our marriage, and I don't know what other people go through, so please forgive my ignorance. When we made our vows, we both were very like, this is a lifetime. So even if I can't stand you, I'm gonna have to get over it. I would say that I'm super grateful that I said yes, and I committed to a man that equally is committed to growth and change. Like it would suck to be married to someone, not you, who doesn't want to change and is just like, this is who I am. figure it out.
Yeah.
That would suck, and I guess I would have to figure it out. I wouldn't be very happily married. I would say I'm gratefully married
Yeah.
because we do have our challenges. Yeah, you can even see like you see some of a lot. And so no, I wouldn't blame social media for anything in terms of our marriage. I think this will bring us to the next question, which is our philosophy with social media concerning our daughter.
Yeah.
Because I remember in the beginning, we both were like, we're not going to post her. And then fast forward to like, we got like, she's in our videos. And my concerns have more to do with, you know, like school, like who.
Being bullied and stuff.
Not being bullied. Like if we lived in a major city, I'd have higher concerns of safety. Because if we're leaving her to daycare, the city just has way more people, and like people can, I don't know, could kidnap your.
It's here though, like everyone knows each other here.
Because everyone knows each other here, I feel less fear of that.
I feel the opposite. I think.
Do you feel fear that someone will kidnap our daughter and we'll never know?
You're thinking about kidnapping.
Or no, I just mean safety.
I
mean
thought you meant like safety or like prejudices and stuff.
No, I'm referring to right now.
Like crime, like legit crime.
Well, there's safety concerns that go up when you're in a city higher, which I don't have the same concerns as, for example, one of my peers who does not feel comfortable posting their child because they're afraid of their child being kidnapped because they have stalkers.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I don't have those fears because I don't have those problems. But the things that I've always had in my mind with or without Saga is, you know, certain dates like anniversaries. I don't like posting the certain dates. I don't like, you know, be mindful of posting your child's date of birth, time of birth, location of birth. Like, that's a lot of information. And then you just posted it in this video, your favorite color is this, and on your anniversary you went there. Like, people can create a whole profile on you. Like, criminals could. So those are the concerns that I have. And sometimes we'll see if I did the right thing. Saga will let me know when she's older.
Yeah. I don't know how I would feel. I don't know how Saga's going to react when she gets older. All I know is that Saga's going to find one way or another to be disappointed with her parents.
Right.
I'm happy. Like, I could work with anything. I happen to be a content creator. We happen to be content creators. The food that she is getting on her table is financed by what we do for a living. I'm not a mechanic. I don't have another profession. I make money from filming, and that's the life that she was brought into. I'm trying my best not to make things about her and this is my daughter. Like, my daughter learned how to poo in this amount. Like, I'm not trying to tie content around that
to her.
And if I've done that in the past, I have viewed it and maybe I'm
learning.
I'm learning as I go. And I just know that because some people ask me like, but what if your daughter doesn't want to be on social media? What if your daughter doesn't want this? And I'm like, what if she would have loved to be on social media? What if she grows up into society where that was like socially accepted and like, oh, I wish that I had content of me growing up. There's nothing left anymore. I don't know. Like, I don't have any moral conflicts now that I am doing anything wrong by.
We also don't get paid to post Saga.
No,
like that's the other thing. Like,
it's illegal in Sweden even.
Yeah, they say that, but I still
see people do it. Yeah,
I see people post her. Anyways, but my point is like, I think we are navigating as best as we can not to exploit, you know, our marriage as well as our daughter, and every family has to figure that out.
Yeah.
So I don't want to judge, even though I do judge.
Yeah.
I don't want to, but I do.
I judge myself too. I judge us for things that we have done, and
oh yeah, there's that. I will say, once you step in front of a camera, sharing your life, you open yourself up to criticism. And for the viewers watching, when you are watching someone else's life on camera, whether it's scripted or unscripted, reality versus whatever, keep in mind there is someone editing, cutting things out, adding things in. It's always best to view this as entertainment, not goals. I would not put anyone's relationship, family as goals, anything, because people deceive themselves. Like we can deceive ourselves into thinking like we're doing what's best, but who knows?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I think it's always best to take what you watch for a grain of salt, and the only thing that should be goals is your own life and God. Like let that navigate you, and don't let people dictate what you should aim and strive for. Because as we've all seen, it blows up in our face. They're all just lying to us.
Yeah.
What about you?
No, again, like I'm so grateful for one thing that I haven't mentioned in this video is that I'm grateful for the community that we have, and by community I mean other creators too who are in the same space as us, but also the comments that you guys put here, because you are always so thoughtful and humble. You're humbling us a lot with your takes on things, and I'm not going to speak for you, but I'm very grateful for them. And I think that you also allow me to feel free to be as real as I can be, and also feel free to be authentic and transparent with my life. So this might sound cheesy, but I like doing this for you as well, with you is a better word, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will definitely say, because of your comments, both positive and negative, it allows, especially negative, like the blessing in that is it allows me to pause and see myself and to see if I agree with that comment or not, and either way to reflect and work on myself.
And you're very closer.
Yeah. So the only one who's winning is me. When you criticize me, I'm just like, I'm gonna either become a better person for it, or not take this so seriously. If you can, just share with us in the comments what your views are or your philosophy on family vlogging, even personal vlogging. Where do you draw the line? Where do you draw the boundary?
Maybe that's for another video.
If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to our channel, turn your notifications on so you know when we upload a new video, and we'll see you in the next one.
Hej då!
Hej då.